הדוברת הבאה היא הגברת תניא פרדמן. תניא פרדמן היא אמנית, רכזת האמנות בכפר הנוער ימין אורד. היא התנדבה בכפר אגהוזו שלום בשנת 2009, הנה את פה, והיא תדבר על החוויה שלה כמתנדבת בכפר תחת הכותרת מציירים תקווה בגבעות רואנדה. בבקשה.
I'm Tanya. I was a volunteer, as you heard, in the Agahosу Shalom Youth Village in Rwanda in the first year with Shimon in 2009. And similar to Susie's story, I had just finished Brandeis University where I was studying art and wanted to volunteer, heard Anne's story, spoke with Sifa and said I have to go to this amazing place. You've heard a lot about the village already. I'm just going to add one more element and tell you about the role of art in the village and how art has the possibility to bring people together and to really give an opportunity for incredible healing. And I'll tell you a little bit about the artwork that you've seen in the entrance to the hall here. My story also, like Shimon, began at the Yemine Ord Youth Village. Before I went to Rwanda, I decided I should go to Yemine Ord and learn what happens there. And today, as you heard, I'm the art coordinator at Yemine Ord Youth Village. At Yemine Ord, you have children who are coming from so many different countries and who are learning to live and work together. You have Ethiopians and Russians, Brazilians, Sudanese refugees. And my role there was to create artwork with them, murals and mosaics that would allow them to express themselves, to give a voice to their identities, and to allow them to put their mark on their home. I learned at Yemine Ord how things work, what the educational approach was, and then was able to take that with me to Rwanda. Here you can see a little bit of the work that we do there with the kids. If you haven't been there, you're welcome to come visit. So in December of 2008, I arrived at the Agahosу Shalom Youth Village, and the walls then were blank. As you heard, Anne said, start, even if things aren't finished, and so things weren't always finished. But for me as an artist, blank walls are a great thing. And so we had the kids in those first few days draw pictures of their dreams, things that expressed who they were, their hopes for their lives in the village. Many of them had never used markers or paints before, but they were excited to begin. And we took this very large wall as our first project with these somewhat dangerous scaffolding that you see there. Came up with a drawing, a plan that the kids created that they wanted to paint on their wall that expressed their past and their future. And we turned it into a paint by number, if you're familiar with, where every color coordinates with another number so that we could have all 125 kids plus the staff working together. And we began to paint this painting on the wall at night. Here we projected it at night so that they could begin to outline the sketch. And slowly, slowly, day by day, kids would come and paint and fill up the wall with color. You can see the scale here. I would always have them after they spent some time painting. Are you afraid over there? No. No? You're very brave. Can you tell me which things you're painting?
Can I just give her the whole bucket?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Denise, what are you painting? A picture of what?
Computer.
And
Man.
and what?
Human. No problem.
A human?
It's me.
Aisha, what are you painting?
I don't know. Elisa, me, I'm
What is
Yeah,
this?
the football field.
What is this then?
That's the stomach of the house mother.
Stomach.
Yeah, of the house mother. See the house mother's face up there? Ah, that's right. Jackie, what are you painting? A girl. What about Emma? What are you painting? I think it's green, so maybe grass? Grass? Yeah, could be grass. It's very hard to get a sense of the size of it. I would always ask them after they had spent some time right in front of the wall to take a step back to the hill and look at what they had done, because it's hard to get perspective when you're so close. And they would feel such pride knowing that I painted that sun, I painted those shoes, and even now, years later, they can look back at that painting and say, I did that, that's me, I left that mark. And that is something that is extremely powerful about art, especially in a place where kids are coming from nothing and have witnessed so much destruction, where they're able actually to create through their imagination with their own hands and put something real in this world that they can show others and they can say, that's me, and feel such pride in that. They were also able to just add tremendous color to their surroundings. Here you can see they're painting the front gate. If you see far, you will go far, the village motto. And create a place that's warm and welcoming and joyous to live in, which is so important. Part of the philosophy of the village, having a physical space that you feel good in, that you feel you can grow and become stronger in. This is at the school, mosaic in the front of the school. And there were certain students who really felt themselves connected to art. Some who would walk around with a sketchbook all the time, doing drawings, drawing things, drawing stories that they didn't want to speak about, they didn't want to write about, but they felt comfortable in a way putting down in images on paper. And you've heard a lot of stories about individual kids there, but just to add another few of the boys who were there in my first year, Skas is one of them, took art on as really a mission. They wanted to teach others about artwork. And Skas, together with Emmanuel, who you also have seen and heard about, had the opportunity at their graduation 2 years ago to paint a painting for President Paul Kagame, for the president of Rwanda. This was the biggest honor for them. And they were able to give that painting to him. Here you see the president together with Anne. At their graduation, they were able to give that painting to him as a gift. This was a tremendous moment for them in their lives. They, after graduating, rented a small, I'll go back for a minute, rented a small room together in Kigali. I visited them there. They had a mattress on the floor, and the rest of it was their art studio. And they created paintings and worked to show them in different places and sell them. And now they're both studying in universities. Some of the people who really impacted me during my time there, who you've also heard a bit about, were the house mothers. Women who brought such joy, and as you've heard, came from most of them losing their children, losing their husbands in the genocide, who brought such joy and grace and warmth to the children in the village. And so I decided when I was there as an artist, I wanted to try and capture some of this in my own artwork, and I began to paint portraits of many of these incredible women. This is Mama Ani. When I returned then to New York after living in the village, I painted many paintings of Mama Ani, trying to capture a sense of that warmth within her. for me, I also wanted in my artwork, and this piece is outside in the hall here, to use something that came from this other place that I had experienced and had been so powerful in my life. So I brought back a lot of material with me, a lot of the fabric that I was so stricken by when I was in Rwanda, and you incorporated that into my painting. For me, dance and movement was also a very powerful way to connect with people, sometimes when there was a language barrier. And so that also became a very important part of exploring that experience through my own artwork, combining paint and fabric, combining movement and dance, intertwining our stories in order to talk about the experience there. And then I wanted to go a little bit deeper in intertwining these stories, my own, with the incredible people who I had met there. And so I decided to also incorporate my own Jewish identity and texts, biblical texts that are important in my life. And so I decided to look at examples from the Haggadah Shel Pesach of the Arbat HaBanim, 4 sons, 4 different personality types that are described in the text, which look at the world in different ways. And so I created these portraits, which you're also welcome to see outside, which are these 4 personalities, Chacham, Rasha, Tam, V'she'eno yodea lish'ol, that look at the world in different ways. And I thought about ways that the people who I had met thought about what happens in Rwanda, thought about the genocide there in different ways. Or sometimes the same person who throughout their life started to deal with it and think about it in different ways. And I created these portraits to fit those personality types, and which illuminated my experience there and my own understanding of my identity and connection to Jewish past and culture. One more piece that I'll just tell you a little about. It's also out in the hall here. It's much smaller than it looks like there. And it all turned upside down. V'nahafochu. This came from the holiday of Purim, which I celebrated there in Rwanda, and read the story of Megillat Esther together with my friends in Rwanda in costume as a cow, because cows are very important in Rwandan culture. And thinking about the story of Megillat Esther and what happens there, the near destruction of the Jewish people, and then everything changes. And thinking about what happens in Rwanda, the total destruction, near total destruction that happens there. So here you have hills of Rwanda, you have kind of Persian architecture, the conflation of different worlds, these different histories and pasts that are somehow strangely connected. And creating these works allowed me to both understand what happened there and understand more about myself. And that's the message that I'd like to leave you with, that bringing these worlds together, encountering another culture, and expressing through art what we encounter, giving visual images to these ideas, allow us to understand more about ourselves and more about others, and hopefully leave the world a more beautiful place. Thank you.